Hello, welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm back with another update coming out from the war between Russia and Ukraine, and I've got tons of big news to share with all of you today. So, we're going to start off talking about yet again another attack on an oil depot inside of Russia. This time is the Liski oil depot in the Voronezh region. Last night, Ukrainian drones attacked this oil depot, and I believe it was struck 3 times with Ukrainian drones. I've got all the information on this. I think at some point I'm going to have to change my channel name to Oil Depot News because it seems like that's all we're reporting coming out from this war every single day. Ukraine is just hammering oil depots all over Russia right now, especially over the last 6 to 8 weeks. We've been hearing nothing but oil depots being destroyed, oil refineries, just anything to do with oil in Russia right now is just being completely and utterly destroyed. So I've got all the details, video footage coming out from here from the attack last night. We also have a report in the Tambov region of Russia, which is very close to Voronezh also. There's a gunpowder factory over there that I believe took direct hits. We have video footage of explosions in that area, and reportedly this was the target, was a gunpowder production plant. So I've got information on that. And then also the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, he visited Kiev today to meet with Volodymyr Zelensky, and they also signed a 100-year partnership agreement. Okay, so that's very big news for Ukraine. I'll go over all the details on that here in just a little bit as well. But let's go ahead and jump into this, guys. Lots of news coming out from this war today. We're going to head on over here to the Kiev Independent. Let me give you information on this oil depot, the Liski oil depot that was attacked last night. Ukrainian drones hit Russian oil depot in Voronezh Oblast, military claims. And this came out today, January 16th, 2025. And it says down here, Ukrainian soldiers struck the Liskinskaya, oil depot in Russia's Voronezh Oblast with drones overnight on January 16th. Ukraine's general staff reported. According to the military, the targeted oil depot stored fuel, which was used for the needs of the Russian army. The statement came after Russian reports of the oil depot on fire in Voronezh Oblast. The village of Liski in Voronezh Oblast lies over 150 kilometers, or 98 miles east of the Ukrainian border. In an attack conducted by the Special Operations Forces and other units of Ukraine's defense forces, at least 3 drones hit the facility, causing a large-scale fire, the general staff said. Okay, guys, so 3 drones striking this facility directly. Here's a map to kind of show where it's located. I'll pull it up on Google Maps for you guys in a little bit. We'll zoom in and show you this actual facility. It also says here the Kiev Independent could not verify these claims. The attack comes amid an uptick in Ukraine's drone operations targeting Russian energy infrastructure. A Ukrainian drone strike also reportedly targeted a Russian gunpowder factory in the village of Kuzmino Gat in Tambov Oblast overnight on January 16th. So I'm going to show you some information on this gunpowder factory here in just a little bit, also, and some videos coming out from there. And the videos that I have, the information is showing it was from a town called Krotovsk or something like that. I'll show you the name of it. It's very close, actually, to Kuzmino Gat. So it's somewhere within one of these 2 towns where this attack took place. I don't know exactly which town, but Kiev Independent is reporting it was in Kuzmino Gat, okay, which is right next door to that other town that I'll talk about in just a little bit. It says here Ukrainian forces have previously targeted military airfields, oil refineries, and ammunition depots in Voronezh Oblast, okay? So there's the official report regarding this attack on this oil depot. Now let's hop into X, and I've got some information over here in a video for you guys from Special Kherson Cat. Russian oil depot in Liski, Voronezh region of Russia, was targeted by drones. Okay, guys, 30-second video with sound showing this thing on fire, and again was hit 3 times with Ukrainian drones last night. Take a look at this.
Нефтебаза наша горит со стороны подлесного поворота. Ебашит. 3 беспилотника захерачились. Вон там менты стоят. Маленький кипочка. 2. Это вот еще одна. Херачит.
All right, this appears to be the highlight of the month as we've been just reporting nothing but oil depots being destroyed inside of Russia. Yet again, another one we can see two, maybe even three flames here. So probably multiples of these oil storage tanks catching on fire after these drones directly struck it. So now we're going to hop on over to a map and let me show you exactly where this oil depot is located. Okay, so we have Ukrainian territory down here. Here's Russia. There's the Moscow region and the capital of Moscow there. And down here in the Voronezh region on the western side is where we're going to be talking about. Again, roughly about 150 kilometers from the border is what's being reported here. So on the western side of Voronezh region, we have the town of Liski when we zoom in. So here's Liski right here, just a little bit northwest, probably about maybe 5 kilometers or so, we have this oil depot, okay, the Liski oil depot. And you can see it's not very big. There's only about, what, maybe 10 or so tanks here, maybe 12, 14, something like that. There's some smaller ones right there as well. But, even if just 2 or 3 of these were destroyed, that's a pretty good amount of these oil tanks that are completely gone already at this facility. And from what I understand, too, I've got information that shows there was actual anti-drone cages on here that were installed. I'm not sure if we can see them here. No, I think this is an older photo. But yeah, they had anti-drone cages on them. And even though they had these protective cages on them, this thing still exploded, okay? So here's the Liski oil depot next to the town of Liski. Here's Liski again right here, again, just a little bit northwest over here, okay, in this kind of deserty looking area. So when we zoom out, there you go, there's Liski there. And on the western side of Voronezh region, okay, not too far away from the city of Voronezh right there is where this took place, okay, not too far away from the Ukrainian border. So now let's hop on over to another update from Special Kherson Cat. Russian Liski oil depot, which was targeted by drones tonight, was covered in anti-drone cages. Okay, so here's a little photo coming out, and we can see all these cages that are constructed on these oil tanks, okay? And even though these cages are constructed, they're designed to protect these oil tanks from drone attacks, and looks like these drones were still able to cause a fire. So these things are not 100% anti-drone proof is what it looks like to me, and we started to hear about this probably about maybe 6 months ago that Russia was starting to put these drone cages on these oil tanks in different parts of Russia at several facilities, but it looks like the drones can still penetrate and cause a fire. So here's a picture of that facility again that we were just looking at. Now we'll move on to Max 24, Voronezh region, Bavovna, which means explosion at the oil depot. Okay, this is the same one that we're looking at here. Just another video. Unfortunately, I can't play the sound because this man that's driving has music in his car. Don't want any issues with music playing here in the video. But we can see as this person is driving by this facility, completely on fire. Okay, so at least one major fire at this facility during the time that it was attacked. I think somebody's even using a spotlight over here. It might be the emergency crews or firefighters showing up, trying to put the blaze out. So this thing will probably be continuing to burn. It's already burning through the day. I've got a video here to show you that in just a moment. Right here from NOAA reports, traffic near the attacked oil depot in the Voronezh region is blocked due to drone strikes. The road section Liski, Davidovka, Kopanish, if I'm saying that right, 0 to 5 kilometers remains closed. Drivers are advised to avoid the area or find alternative routes. Fire and smoke are still visible at the damaged oil depot. 2 firefighting trains and additional crews were deployed to contain the blaze. So look at that, guys. Just absolutely crazy. I can't believe how accurate these drones have been, and they've been able to destroy more and more of these oil depots recently. Towards the end of the year, last year, we were starting to see a slowdown starting around September, where Ukraine was not hitting as many of these oil depots. Now it's started to pick back up ever since right around November. I'd say the last 2 months for sure have been just action-packed in terms of oil depots being destroyed in Russia. It may seem like it's getting kind of boring to hear about this, but I mean, when you really think about this, this is huge in terms of economic impact on Russia. And this is how Ukraine could potentially win this war, is if they continuously destroy all these oil depots. At some point, it's got to put a major strain on the economy, as we know that a lot of money that's produced inside of Russia is due to all these oil depots and oil refineries and just oil transportation around the world. So now for Max 24, we're going to talk about this attack on the gunpowder factory in the Tambov region. Okay, again, not too far away from Voronezh is where this took place as well. So we've got an 18-second video, which is not going to show any explosions, but somebody was recording over this town here. Sorry, I forgot to show you here from Katovsk. Okay, that's the name of it. I might have got that wrong earlier, but it's called Katovsk. And this town, again, being really close to Kuzmino Gat, I believe is the name of it, that was being reported on Kiev Independent. Sorry, these names are just so hard to pronounce for me. But we've got this video in the town of Kotovsk that shows a drone that's flying over here. So take a look at this. All right, so nothing exciting, but we can see a drone that's flying here over the town of Kotovsk, most likely heading for that gunpowder factory, because we've now got a video for you coming up that shows some sort of explosion that took place over here as well. Okay, we're not gonna be able to see it physically, but you can definitely hear it in the background. Somebody caught it on camera from Max 24 Tambov region powder factory. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this, guys. 15 seconds long. So it's going to start off very quiet. You're really not going to hear anything. Then all of a sudden, it's going to be a loud boom. So go ahead and get your ears ready for that. About 5 to 7 seconds in, you're going to hear that explosion. Take a look.
-1. -2.
All right, so if you listen closely towards the beginning, there's no sound, and then all of a sudden a loud explosion, and then followed up soon after a smaller explosion when the man started talking. So I'm not sure if that was some sort of secondary detonation or what that was, but reportedly there was a gunpowder factory that was attacked over here in this area in the region of Tambov, and I don't know for sure if it took direct hits. All we know is it was attacked, but it does sound like something did take a direct hit over here in this region. Maybe these drones were shot down. We don't really know, but if I get more information on that, finding out that this powder factory was destroyed, caught on fire, something like that, I will let you guys know in a later update, okay? Now we're going to talk about this visit from Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister from the UK, and this from Nexta. British Prime Minister Starmer has arrived in Kiev, according to The Guardian. It is reported that the purpose of the trip is to sign an agreement on deepening existing defense relations and strengthening economic ties in non-military spheres. Starmer is also expected to discuss security guarantees that Britain can offer Ukraine, including the possibility of British troops participating in the post-war peacekeeping force. So I'm actually going to do a video on that later, because there were some reports today that the US and UK, the UK and France, are actually discussing right now potentially deploying troops over to Ukraine if this war ends. This will come after we hear of a peace solution between Ukraine and Russia. So we'll do a separate video on that today, and I'll kind of dive in and give you guys more information on that. But this was a report coming out today. It says Keir Starmer hails closer than ever partnership with Ukraine on Kiev visit. Two countries to sign deal to deepen existing defense relationship and boost economic links in non-military areas. Okay, so another update right here from Max 24. Ukraine and UK sign 100-year partnership agreement. The document will deepen bilateral defense relations and provide for further military assistance to Kiev. Okay, so the UK and Ukraine now deepening their ties, and the UK is going to be funding Ukraine further into. Even after this war ends, they'll be providing them more military equipment and aid. So expect that to be coming from the Brits. Now, also from Max 24, we have agreed to transfer at least $3.6 billion in military aid to Ukraine annually. Liski summed up the meeting with Starmer. The countries are agreed to allocate another $3 billion from Russian assets, which in total for this year is at least $6.6 billion. British Prime Minister announced a supply of 150 artillery barrels and a new mobile air defense system to Ukraine, which will arrive within a few weeks. In addition, the training program for the Ukrainian military will continue, and the UK has already trained 50,000 soldiers. Isn't that crazy, guys? The UK trained 50,000 soldiers of the Ukrainian army. That's absolutely amazing that the UK has been able to do that for them. So more support. We can see here all this information and support going to Kiev today, okay? So now another update regarding this from War Translated Dmitry. Ukraine and the United Kingdom signed a centennial cooperation agreement. Under the agreement, the United Kingdom will expand the training program for Ukrainian military personnel and develop cooperation in the field of long-range weaponry and weapons creation. All right, so more training for Ukraine's military being announced, and also cooperation for development of long-range weaponry and weapons creation. Okay, so even more, we're going to continue to see Ukraine get stronger and stronger, and that's what we keep hearing. That the UK also came out and announced, it was Prime Minister Keir Starmer. He said that he's trying to put Ukraine in the best possible position as they move towards these peace talks. And then also, you got to think about the future too. They need to make sure that Ukraine is as strong as possible moving forward, so that way Russia never feels like they can ever attack Ukraine ever again. That's obviously a very big step moving forward, and we know that Ukraine understands that, especially Volodymyr Zelensky. So moving on to another update from Nexta. A Russian drone crashed today near the site of talks between the British Prime Minister and the Ukrainian President, the Mariinsky Palace. The Guardian reported, "We will also say hello," Zelensky said. This was a picture coming out today as we had a drone coming from Russia that crashed near the Mariinsky Palace, okay? So this was during the time that that Keir Starmer was actually there in Ukraine. So here's a photo of him today, and I'm not sure, this looks like a vehicle or something that was potentially destroyed. So pretty crazy that, even when Keir Starmer is there visiting, we still have drones coming into Ukraine, all right? Pretty insane. Here's also a response from Keir Starmer regarding that drone that crashed near the palace today. This is from War Translated Dmitry. "This is what Ukrainians see every day. Russia launched a drone attack on the center of Kiev right during the British Prime Minister's visit." Okay, so we've got a 53-second video, and this will have English subtitles. You're going to see Volodymyr Zelensky talking a little bit and Keir Starmer. So go ahead and take a look at what they have to say regarding this attack today.
Під час ваших сьогоднішніх перемовин російський дрон атакував центр Києва. Як ви сприймаєте такий привіт від російської сторони?
В тому, що стосується удару дроном сьогодні, дивіться, це нагадування для всіх нас, що бачать українці кожен день. І це реалізується для нас, але це щоденна загроза. І для мене цей дроновий удар – це просто нагадування насправді про те, що Україна бачить кожного дня, і нагадування про те, що ця війна принесена російською агресією. Це не просто незаконна війна, але нам потрібно мати тривалий мир для України. Дякую.
Пане президенте.
Ми передамо привіт їм також.
Під час ваших
All right, so just a quick statement coming out from Keir Starmer, basically saying that this is what Ukraine endures every single day, is these constant attacks. And then if you notice also, there's a reporter that briefly asked Volodymyr Zelensky, he said, what is your response to this, Mr. President? And he basically said that, they're going to be sending their own warm regards back to Russia. So probably going to be sending another major attack back onto Russia here very soon. So I thought that was kind of funny at the same time. All right, also from Max24, a warehouse of a fund with assistance for Russian special military operation participants worth 1.7 million rubles burned down in Vyborg. The warehouse contained construction materials for dugouts, armor sets, tactical headphones, clothing, and other equipment. The cause of the fire was previously thought to be arson. On January 9th, the warehouse burned down to the ground. Okay, so this was a report that actually came out yesterday, but allegedly this warehouse had burned down on January 9th, so roughly about a week or so ago. But yeah, and it says here it was apparently worth 1.7 million rubles, and there was lots of assistance for the war in Ukraine, or for the Russian army, excuse me. So we've got this picture here in Vyborg, actually, if you're not familiar where that's at. It's up near St. Petersburg in the Leningrad region. So this was pictures of this warehouse when it burned down to the ground. We've also got a quick video coming up. It's like 5 seconds long of the cleanup operation. All right, we can see here they're just cleaning up and trying to get this place back in order as it was completely destroyed from the fire. So we've also got one more picture here, and this was a photo that was taken, I guess, around the time that this facility was constructed and set up, ready to go. And again, these were lots of supplies for Russia's army as they continue to fight inside of Ukraine, and apparently it was destroyed, okay? And from what we understand here, the reasoning could have been arson, so maybe somebody got on the inside, maybe a partisan, or who knows, maybe it was Ukraine's intelligence group that went in here and somehow destroyed this facility, caught it on fire. But essentially, it was destroyed, okay, is what we're being told there. Okay, also from Max24, here we go. Men in Russia need to prepare for a new mobilization, stated in the State Duma. Deputy Alexei Zurulov Zurovlev, believes that in 2028 and 2029, Europe and its allies will be ready to fight Russia. Okay, this was a statement apparently coming out from a member of the parliament inside of Russia, Alexei Zurovlev, and he was reportedly stating that the Russians need to be ready for a new round of mobilization, and that pretty soon in 2028 to 2029, there's going to be a war between Europe and Russia. Okay, that obviously means NATO. And the fact they're talking about these dates here, 2028 to 2029, this is something multiple times that I have actually covered on this channel throughout the duration of last year in 2024. We had multiple reports coming out from all kinds of top leaders in Europe, even from NATO. They've been warning that war was going to begin with Russia sometime around these dates, okay, sometime before 2030, but we've been hearing a lot around 2028, 2029. At the time, that would have been like 4 or 5 years from now. Now that's just right around the corner, okay? We're talking 3 to 4 years. That's really not that far away. And, will there be a war between NATO and Russia? We don't really know, but it looks like Russia and NATO are both preparing for that. And we're seeing that with NATO right now. Okay. They're doing lots of military drills and getting ready to support, Eastern frontline countries like Poland and the Baltic nations, Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, Finland, even, if there's a major attack. So it's just something to note here, but this was a statement that came out yesterday. Okay. Now moving on to another update from War Translated Dmitry. The Russians are failing to achieve their strategic goals on any front. According to Oleksandr Syrsky, the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Ukraine had a phone conversation with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the United States, Charles Brown. The parties discussed the situation on the front. During the conversation, I informed my American colleague about the situation on the front line, which is characterized by heavy fighting in most directions. Thanks to the courage of the bravery of Ukrainian soldiers, the enemy's superior forces have failed to achieve their strategic goals on any front, noted Syrsky. Okay, so that was a statement coming out from Oleksandr Syrsky, the commander of Ukraine's armed forces, and he was speaking to the chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff of the United States, Charles Brown. Apparently, they had a phone call together or conversation, and that was a new statement coming out from him today, from Syrsky, basically stating that the Russians have failed to achieve any of their goals or objectives, okay, is what he's saying. Now for Max 24, Ukraine will start producing microchips. This will require from $1 billion, Ministry of Digital Information reported. The plans are to produce microchips with a size of 180, 130, 110 nanometers. They can fully cover the needs of the defense, agriculture, and automotive sectors, okay? So I thought this was a huge report today, okay? And what this tells me is that Ukraine, from the very beginning of this war, what they're realizing is they have to be fully self-sufficient, okay? They can't rely on the West. They can't rely on anybody to help them. I think they realize how vulnerable they were in the very beginning as well. And I think this war taught Ukraine a lot and made them realize. They woke up and they're like, hey, we got to make sure that we protect ourselves. And this is something that I've been telling people for a very long time as well in regards to this war, but also it relates to daily life, is that, you got to protect yourself. You can't depend on your government or anybody else outside of your household to defend you if something happens, or just in general, right? You always got to be prepared to protect yourself, whether it's economically, physically, whatever it is, right? That's what this tells me is, they're realizing as well that, hey, they need their own computer chips. They need to build everything, their own weapons, everything in their country to protect themselves and not rely on any Western aid or anybody else to help them out. Okay. So I thought that was huge today coming out from Ukraine. Also from Tendar, Gazprom went from claiming to become the first $1 trillion company in the world to mass layoffs and likely even Chapter 11. Thanks to Putin's gas wars and his failed military aggression in Ukraine, removing 1,600 employees at its headquarters, 40% of the people working there, will just add another exclamation mark onto how wrong this war has gone for Moscow. So here's a report that came out today. It says Russia's Gazprom weighs slashing HQ or headquarter jobs after losing most sales to Europe, okay? This was several days ago that we talked about this, and it's just another update regarding Gazprom. We know that Gazprom's completely failing right now. Very soon they could even be declaring bankruptcy. They're basically broke, okay? And a lot of this is due to the war and Ukraine completely destroying all these facilities. So, just like we reported today with this other attack on this other oil depot, okay? These types of attacks are putting major strains on Gazprom, and it looks like Gazprom is going to be in the toilet here very soon. Now, from next up, 5 tankers carrying 4 million barrels of Russian oil stuck off China's coast, according to Bloomberg. According to data from, I don't know if it's Kepler or Plur, Kepler cited by Bloomberg, 5 tankers carrying Russian oil are stranded off the coast of China. These shipments, originating from Russia's Far East, were scheduled for unloading, but 4 of the vessels have been flagged under U.S. sanctions. Although the sanctions have yet to take effect, Chinese ports are reportedly hesitant to accept Russian oil, leading to a backlog of shipments. Analysts predict the volume of stranded fuel may increase in the future. Okay, so just days ago, we reported there was 3 of these oil tankers that were stuck off the coast of China. Looks like that number is jumping up to 5 now, okay? And every single day that goes by, this number is going to continue to grow. And I'm curious to see, where these oil tankers going to go. If they can't drop off, their fuel or their oil, their crude oil at ports in China or India, where else do they go? Do they just sit out there, or do they return back to the port? Where does this oil go? I guess they're going to have to figure out where else they're going to ship this oil to, maybe make some new contracts with other countries. I don't know what's going to happen here, but this is, again, more effect on Russia's economy here, and these sanctions are definitely starting to bite. Now, another update from Military News UA. Russian S-400 SAM launcher destroyed in Kursk, Belgorod region. This was a new report coming out today with a new photo showing an S-400 SAM launcher. It's an air defense system completely destroyed in the Kursk region. I believe this was destroyed very recently, is what some sources were indicating on X. But there's that photo of that thing completely destroyed. Okay, these are very expensive. Big loss for Russia once again. Also from Nexo, Russia will buy gas for unrecognized Transnistria in Europe. The Russian authorities and unrecognized Transnistria are discussing an option under which Transnistria will receive gas by purchasing it on the European spot market with the help of an intermediary company. While the expenses will be borne by the Russian budget, this is reported by Kommersant. Okay, I thought this was a pretty crazy story. I mean, imagine, the gas gets cut off through Ukraine from Russia over to Transnistria, which is this breakaway region in Moldova that is Russian controlled. They haven't had any oil. They haven't had any gas. They haven't had any gas, electricity, running water. A lot of these main utilities are starting to run out inside of Transnistria. They're on the verge of a humanitarian crisis. Ever since January 1st, when Ukraine cut off liquefied natural gas to Europe, all these pipelines that were running through Ukraine could no longer transport Russian gas. Okay, so Transnistria in a very bad situation, and it looks like they're getting desperate now, and they actually might start buying oil from the European market. Or excuse me, I keep saying oil, but it's gas, liquefied natural gas, just to keep the region of Transnistria moving. Okay, so I thought that was pretty crazy. As a lot of the gas supplies have been cut off to Europe. Now we're starting to see Russia turning the tables here, and now they're going to have to potentially buy gas from Europe just to keep Transnistria functioning. So pretty insane story coming out today. Now from Anton Gerashenko, one of Russia's biggest oil refineries is only working at half its regular capacity after a fire broke out at the plant, Russian media report. The plant allegedly stopped the operation of the diesel fuel hydrotreatment unit, losing about 50% of its daily diesel production. The Volgograd oil refinery produced about 7% of all diesel fuel in Russia. Local authorities still claim the fire was accidental, though residents reported that something fell on the plant's territory and exploded. All right, so we reported this a few days ago, the Volgograd oil refinery. Now, the authorities were initially stating that it was not caused due to a drone attack. There was some sort of internal issue. Was there some sort of bomb planted over here or something? We don't know. But this was a video that came out just the other day showing this thing on fire. And it looks like it has caused major damage to this facility, as what's being reported here is about 50% of its daily diesel production completely halted. So that's absolutely huge as well. Okay, major oil refinery in Volgograd. All right, also from Max 24, Yermak, we are determined to begin official conversations and consultations immediately after the inauguration. I expect that a meeting will take place very soon between Trump and Zelensky to discuss specific plans on how to end this war. Okay, so Andriy Yermak is the head of the presidential office for Ukraine. He works very closely with Volodymyr Zelensky. This was a statement that came out from him today. So expect negotiations to begin very soon after Trump gets in office. And this is literally right around the corner, guys. We're on January 16th. If many of you weren't aware of this, the inauguration is in 4 days for Donald Trump. So he's going to be in the White House very soon. And expect these negotiations to be underway. And we'll see what comes from it. I'm very curious to see how this plays out. And I can't wait to start covering that news. And hopefully we hear some good news and we hear this war is going to come to an end safely. And we'll see if it ends up being in Ukraine's favor. Hopefully, it's not going to be in Russia's favor. Wouldn't make any sense, but we don't really know how it's going to go yet. Okay, it could go really either way, and we'll wait for those details. Okay. Now from Bliskovka, air defense forces of Ukraine destroyed 34 out of 55 Russian UAVs. 18 Russian imitator UAVs were lost locally without negative consequences. Okay, this is a new report today from January 16, 2025. Showing 55 Russian drones that were incoming to Ukraine over the last 24 hours. Looks like 34 out of those 55 were taken down. 18 were lost locally as well, okay? So it looks like majority of those were taken down, and not too many, only 55 in the last 24 hours. Now from the Kiev Independent, our final update of the day. These are the indicative estimates of Russia's combat losses as of January 16th, according to the armed forces of Ukraine. Okay, so here we go. Russia's losses as of January 16th, reported by the Ukrainians: 1,480 troops, 20 AFVs, 137 vehicles and fuel tanks, 11 tanks, quite a bit more tanks than usual. We've been seeing right around 3 to 5 recently. Now it looks like it jumped up to 11. A lot of losses over the last 24 hours in terms of tanks. And 40 artillery systems, 120 UAVs, and 1 special equipment, 31 cruise missiles. Okay, that's regarding that attack yesterday that we reported inside of Ukraine. As I believe there was somewhere around 40 or more missiles that were fired into Ukraine, targeting their energy sector on the western side of their country. So it looks like 31 are confirmed to have been shot down. Okay, so lots of big updates coming out today from this war, guys. Just wanted to give you another daily update, letting you know about another oil depot that has been hit. And it seems like almost every single day we're reporting an oil depot now. There's just been so many at this point. I've completely lost track. And I want to say there's probably been 100 by now. I wouldn't be surprised from the time I started this channel back in January, at the beginning of January last year. We just been reporting nothing but oil depots just being destroyed everywhere. So yeah, it really wouldn't surprise me if 100 or more by now has been hit. And definitely major news coming out today. So let me know what you think about all these details down below. That's going to be it for today's update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless. And we'll see you in the next one.